Hey guys, today let's see the DevOps interview preparation question and answers. Okay, so in case if you are in the range of 4 to 7 years of experience, in case if you are able to answer these questions, then most probably you will be able to clear the interview. So let's see the question and answers. Okay, before that, in case if you are interview ready and in case if you want to give any mock interviews, you can schedule an mock interview. Okay, in case if you come to my YouTube link, so we have something called topmate. So you can schedule the mock entries here so that we can have a one-on-one mock entries. Okay. So let's come into this topic. So today first topic is about Kubernetes. Okay. So explain how do you perform a zero downtime deployments in Kubernetes. Okay. So normally doing deployment it's fine, but the production application shouldn't go down. Okay. So we should have zero downtime. So how we have to do? So actually we have to use the rolling updates. Okay, so in production, as we cannot afford to have application downtime, we have to achieve this zero downtime by using these rolling updates. And what we have to do, we have to like use these configs like max unavailable and max search settings in the deployment, so to control how the parts can be updated simultaneously without downtime. Okay, so in case if you come to strategy, you give the rolling update and rolling update like max unavailable. So in case if you have like 10 parts, how many parts can be unavailable at a time? Only one part. So 9 parts will be available, and one part can be deleted, and max search is one part. Like in case if you want um, so one new part will come and one old part will be deleted. So you have to give this rolling update strategy so that you can achieve zero downtime deployments. Okay, so next question, how do you troubleshoot crash loopback errors? Okay, no matter whether it is crash loopback or image pullback, whatever issue you see, the things you have to do is first thing you have to check the logs. Okay, kubectl logs, and then you have to give the pod name. Okay, so once that is done, you can also check kubectl describe pod, so that you will get errors and any events if there are, if any. Okay, and also you need to validate the readiness and liveliness probes, so that you will get to know whether the application is reachable or not. Okay, so these are the commands like kubectl logs and pod name. And then in case of any specific namespace, you have to give hyphen and namespace. Okay, and describe pod and then namespace. Okay, and what is Kubernetes stateful sets, and when do you use it? Okay, so actually, stateful sets and deployments, these are the two concepts. Okay, in case if you are using parts that doesn't need like identity, then you can use deployments. Okay, because it will have like a random hash at the end of the pod name. In case if you are using for any of the Kafka applications, or else for any of the databases, you should go with stateful sets. Okay, so actually it will maintain a unique network identity and persistent storage. Okay, so when we use stateful sets can be used for databases like MongoDB or Kafka, and where data persistent and order is critical. Okay, so stateful set application parts will be with the names like DB0, DB1, DB2, DB3, so that you will have an order. Okay, whereas deployment parts, it will have like a random hash. Okay, how do you manage node failures in Kubernetes? Okay, so Kubernetes automatically it will try to reschedule the parts on healthy nodes, but we need to configure the control disruptions. Okay, so it will try to deploy in healthy nodes, but we have to deploy it in the particular node where that matches the tags, right? So normally we have to configure these node selectors. Okay, when we configure these node selectors, that will explicitly deploy that pod in a particular node where proper settings are there. Okay, otherwise it will place it in random nodes. Okay, so in order to manage node failure, we have to configure the pod disruption budget. Okay, so we have to write a YAML file and we have to define those things. Okay, and what are taints and tolerations? Okay, so taints prevents the parts from being scheduled on any specific nodes unless they have any matching tolerance. Okay, so in case if you are want a particular part to be deployed on any of the particular taint, then you can actually taint the node. Okay, you can taint the node with some key value pair. Okay, and then in the pod tolerations you have to add the key and operation. Okay, so that it will be deployed in that particular node. Okay. Okay, so next topic, it's related to Ansible. Okay, how do you handle dynamic inventory in Ansible? Okay, so normally what is inventory? So inventory will have a list of IP addresses where the particular Ansible commands needs to be deployed. Okay, but in case if we have an EC2 instances configured, and in case if we have some auto scaling enabled, it will automatically delete and increase the EC2 instances, right? At that time, the IP addresses will change for the EC2 instances. In case if the IP addresses are automatically changing each and every time, then managing the inventory, static inventory is very tough. So we should have an dynamic inventory. So how we can manage those things? So actually we have something called some plugin called ec2.yaml. So it will be like this. So we have to use that one. Okay, so based on that region it will automatically update the inventory with the latest IP addresses, or else you can write some scripts with Python, so that we will be creating a script to automatically update the IP addresses in case if the EC2 instances are updated with the new IP address. Okay, so the thing is like one thing we are in AWS we have EC2 plugin. You can directly use that one and you can configure it with the Ansible config. Okay, so that it will fetch the OS dynamically whenever those things changes. So this is one of the important questions. And what is the difference between Ansible Playbook and Ansible hardock commands? Okay, so hardock commands are for one-time task. So while automating the playbooks, in case if you have to execute a particular script for only one time, then you can use the Ansible hardock commands. And playbooks actually it will have like a series of tasks. Okay, in case if you have to do a series of tasks, then you can go with the Ansible playbook. Okay, so you can define multiple tasks under roles, and then you can execute those against all the servers. So in case if you want to test an adduct, you can use commands like ansible all -m ping, so that it will ping, or in case if you have any particular task which needs to be run one time, you can use adduct commands. Okay, how would you optimize Ansible performance for large scale deployments? Okay, in case if you have to do some deployments in large scale, how you can optimize? Okay, so we can use forks. Okay, you can use forks to increase parallelism. Parallelism means at the same time you can do multiple tasks, means on multiple servers. So in case if you have an application that needs to be deployed on servers, you can increase the deployment parallelly on multiple servers. So you have to use forks. Okay, and then reduce facts gathering. Okay, when you run Ansible playbooks, actually you will be seeing lots of logs coming out, right? So when you gather facts equal to no, then actually those unwanted logs will not be displayed. Only the stages which are in the tasks it will be displayed. And enable pipelining in Ansible config. Okay, so actually if you see here we have the configuration. So what we have to do, forks equal to 20, so it will try to deploy in 20 servers. Pipelining we have enabled true, so that it will try to run on multiple servers. And gathering facts equal to false. What will happen, it will not try to give all the logs. Okay, so that you will have high performance with the Ansible servers. Okay, so Docker. So how do you handle Docker container storage management? Okay, so what actually happens in containers, it will be like a ephemeral. Okay, ephemeral means actually it will be like short-lived. So the data which is saved in the Docker containers, it will be deleted automatically once the container is deleted. Okay, so it is like ephemeral storage. So what we have to do in order to save the data of the containers, we have to store it in the volumes. Okay, so volumes are bind modes. So we have two options: bind modes or else Docker volumes. Actually volumes are managed by dockers. Okay, volumes are managed by dockers, while bind mounts link to the host directories, like our laptops or something which we use as a host, it is linked to those things. So volumes can be easily attached and managed you automatically using docker, whereas bind mounts we have to manually take care. Okay, So actually, when they ask like how do you manage the storage, you have to you tell like we use Docker volumes to save it in any of the storages like that. You have to tell. Okay. Um, okay. So next question. So what is the difference between bind mount and a volume? Okay. So bind mount points to a specific host path, okay, like in our local machine or somewhere. Whereas volumes are managed by Docker, okay, and the volumes are portable and it is the most recommended one, okay. So in case if you are to bind mount, then actually you have to use this command, okay, Docker run -v host path, and then you have to give the container path, okay. And the volumes you can directly run docker run -v my volume, and then you can pass it in the data section, okay. So that this is the main difference, like bind mounts points to specific host path like on our host machine, whereas it will be like volumes will be directly connected to the dockers and managed by Docker, okay. So what is multi-stage build in Docker? So this is one of the important questions because nowadays everything built is on multi-stage builds. Okay, so that you have like high security because the base image will be very small, so that you will have like small images, and as base images are small, you will not have access to any of the tools. Okay, so what exactly happens? So in multi-stage build, we can reduce the image size by copying only the final build output, okay. So when we run this one, the final output which comes, only we are copying those things, okay. Other steps are like removed, and like use from Alpine, okay. So once if we are built and the final output is available in this first stage, then we are using Alpine, Alpine or some other some base images which are of very minimal size, okay. So that the final output of the image which we get will be of less size, so that in case if we are doing multiple deployments, we are going to save lots of disk, and we are also going to save deployment time as well, okay. So that overall production will be improved, okay. So next is related to Terraform. So how do you manage secrets in Terraform? Okay, so secret management is one of the important concepts in Terraform, because Terraform by default doesn't handle secrets directly. Okay, so we should use some cloud native secret managements. Okay, like AWS secret management, or in case if you are using some other key vaults, then you can go ahead with those things as well. Okay, so in case we are using AWS or Azure, we can come with AWS Secret Manager or Azure Key Vault, and then we have to reference them in data block. Okay, in data block we have to reference them. So data AWS Secret Manager, and then if you are given a name for that secret manager, you can give that name, and then the name of the secret. Okay, by defining like this, you can refer this particular thing wherever the secret is required. Okay, so the next question is stateful locking. Okay, so concurrent state modifications can corrupt the state of the Terraform. Okay, so for example, concurrent means like in case if your team is having 3 4 members, and all of you are trying to modify the same file at a time, then actually the state file will be corrupted. Okay, so that is called concurrent modifications. So in case if the state file is corrupted, then it will not know the current state of your applications. So what you have to do? You have to do the state file locking. Okay. So how we can do the state file locking? So we can use DynamoDB in AWS, or GCS locking for Google Cloud. So when we lock it with the DynamoDB, only one person will be able to access the state file at a time. Okay. So that we will be able to avoid this Terraform state file crash. Also, we can save it in the S3 backend so that it can be used later for as a backup. Okay. And how do you perform blue-green deployments in Terraform? Okay. So actually, in this technique, actually you can run two environments like blue and green to ensure minimal downtime. Okay, and also deploy both the versions and switch traffic using load balancer or DNS. So that we will be able to perform the blue-green deployment using Terraform. And also we should clean up the old resources, okay, so that we will not be facing issues with the old configurations. Okay. Okay, so next question is how would you write a module in Terraform? Okay, so modules are like reusable components. Okay, so in case if you write a module, those the same module can be used by a different team in your organization. So always try to go with the modules so that it will save lots of time for everyone. Okay, you can use the module written by a different team, or else you can write a module and share it with the other teams, so that just by changing the variables you will be able to perform the task which is required. Okay, so it defines a reusable infrastructure code in a main.tf file within a module directory using the input variables and outputs. Okay, so just you have to modify the variables so that you can configure. Okay, so uh, they will definitely ask this question in interview, like have you written any module in Terraform, or else what are the modules you have used in Terraform. So you can use these modules for like creating Kubernetes clusters, or else in case if you have any other things, we have things. Okay, if you come here, Terraform modules. Okay, so we have like see this is the module type. Let's come module sources. Okay, you can search anything. For example, if you want EKS module, okay, just type it. So we will get the module. Okay, so this is the EKS module. Okay, so you can use this module, and then you will be able to create the EKS resources just by changing these variables. Okay, you can create a variables.tf file, and then you will be able to use these modules. So what is the use, like reusability? That is the main advantage, and it can be used between any teams in your organization. Or else in case you can, if you want, you can use these public modules, and then you can modify based on your requirement. So how we can use, we have to give module, and then we have to give a name, and then we have to give source. In case if you are copying this code at some place, you have to give the source. Okay, so that you will be able to manage the modules. Okay, so next topic is related to AWS. So how do you design a highly available architecture in AWS? So no matter what happens to infra or application in one location, the application should be accessible to the users. That is the main criteria. So high availability, it will minimizes the downtime using redundancy. Okay, so what we can do, we can deploy the application in multiple availability zones. Okay, we can deploy in multiple availability zones, and then we have to configure the load balancing across multiple availability zones. Okay, when we do the load balancing, the traffic will be split equally, and then it can be accessed. And we have to enable the auto scaling groups. So okay, in case if one of the EC2 instances go down, we should have another EC2 instance running immediately, so that uh, like users will not face any downtime. Okay, so in case if they are telling you to design a highly available architecture, you have to tell them like to use multiple availability zones and load balancing and auto scaling groups. And what is the difference between an internet gateway and a NAT gateway? Okay, this is also an important question. It is very simple in case if you know the VPCs, because um, it is one of the important concepts in VPC. So, internet gateway, it allows the public internet access for the public subnets. Okay. Uh, so in case if you need an internet connection in your applications, definitely you should have internet gateway. Also, we will have only one internet gateway per VPC. Okay, per VPC we can have only one internet gateway. And what is the use of NAT gateway? And if, for example, let's assume you have some private subnet instances and you need internet access for it, then you need to configure the NAT gateway and you have to allow the access. Okay, so how you define this NAT gateway? So actually you have to create the NAT gateway in public subnet. You have to create it in public subnet, and you have to configure the route table to route the traffic to the NAT gateway from the private subnet. Okay, so that you will get the access. So we have to attach internet gateway to VPC and configure routing, and NAT gateway should be created in public subnet, and route table has to be configured in the private subnet. Okay, so how do you secure an S3 bucket? Okay, so buckets are private by default. Okay, buckets are private by default, and you need to enable the encryption. Okay, we have SSE S3, so server side encryption using S3, and server side encryption using key management service. Okay, so you can use any of these things and use IAM roles. Okay, and you can disable the public access by default. This default by default it will be disabled. You can keep it like that, so that we will have high secure S3 bucket. You can write the S3 rules as well using JSON, and then you can configure the bucket. Okay, to manage the security. And next question is AWS auto-scaling policies. Okay, so actually the policies determine like how instances are added and removed. Okay, so policies can be based on target tracking, step scaling, or simple scaling, and you can use CloudWatch metrics to define scaling actions. Scaling actions means like at what percentage of CPU or resource usage the number of EC2 instances needs to be increased. Okay, so those things can be monitored using CloudWatch. Okay, so when it comes to any of the cloud applications, configuring it with CloudWatch is most preferable, because as it is cloud native, it can be so easy, and it is so effective. Okay, and next is scripting. Okay, so here I have given a sample scripting. You guys can try to practice different Linux commands and scenarios, because it is very common they may ask questions related to scripting. Okay, so if you guys want any scripting sessions, you can comment in the video, so that we can have a separate series like most frequently asked, or most common scripting which can be used in DevOps interviews. Okay, so here they are asking you to write a script. Okay, to find the top 10 processes consuming memory in Linux. Okay, so if you have known the Linux commands to check the processes, what is the command? It is ps. Okay, ps is for checking the process. So it shows the all the commands, and then ps aux. So in case if you want to see all the processes, you can pass in the aux command. Okay, so this will show all the running processes, and we have to sort it based on memory, right? We have to sort it based on memory. So hyphen sort equal to slash memory. Okay, so that we will get the processes, and we will sort it based on memory, and we can use awk. Okay, so using awk command we can filter top 10. Okay, in case if you want only top 10, you can give 10. In case if you want 20, you can change it to 20, so that you will get 20 processes which is running. So here we have taken a simple script, and there are like many scenarios. They may tell you to write any scenario, like they may ask you like what is the recent automation you have done, and can you write it. Okay, so in case if you guys want specific scripting classes, just let me know so that we can start it. Okay, and guys, in case if you would like the video till now, please like and subscribe to this channel. Okay, okay, so the next concept is Jenkins. Okay, explain multi-branch pipeline configuration in Jenkins. So if you have seen, we will have something called a multi-branch pipeline. Okay, so what is the use? So it will automatically discovers the branches. In case if you have multiple branches, it will automatically discovers the branches and runs separate jobs for each and everything using a Jenkins file. Okay, so it will automatically discover and it will run separate jobs for each one. So actually we can use this multi-branch pipeline plugin and configure the source repository. So in case if you have to configure, we have to configure the plugin called multi-branch pipeline, and then we have to configure the source repository with respect to the each and every branch. Okay, so that like in case if you give the main branch, it will automatically scan for the available sub branches and it will run the job. Okay, that is the use of multi-branch pipeline. So how do you implement a parameterized builds in Jenkins? Okay, so parameterized builds means actually it will allows dynamically inputting some inputs before running a job. Okay, so we have parameters in Jenkins file. We have to pass it under the Jenkins file like this. Okay, so what exactly happens? For example, let's assume you have like three environments: dev, staging, and production. So we have a code. We have to deploy it in the dev environment. So you can select dev in the parameterized job. Okay. And in case if you select dev, it will go to the dev environment. In case if you select staging, it will go to the staging environment. If you select prod, it will go to the prod environment. So in case if you want options to to input the parameters, then you can come with the parameterized jobs. Okay. And monitoring, so most of us try to avoid this concept, but this is also very important because without monitoring, DevOps is nothing. Because creating an application and running is okay, but to manage that and to make sure that application is running fine all the time, monitoring is so critical. Okay, and Prometheus and Grafana are major players in monitoring section. Okay, so let's see a few questions related to those things as well. Okay, so how do you set up alerts in Prometheus? So this may be very common question because many of us we will be mentioning Prometheus Grafana, but we don't know how to configure the settings. So how do we configure alerts? So actually, we have to write Prometheus rules in YAML format. Okay, and we have to configure the alert manager. So alert rules will be triggered based on the thresholds which we have configured. Okay, so we have to define the rules and configure the alert manager. So how we define? So in the YAML file, Prometheus YAML file, we have to create the groups and name and rules. Okay, rules will be like alert. Okay, high CPU usage. In case CPU usage is greater than 80%, it will trigger an alert. Okay, and then in case if memory usage is greater than a certain percentage, it will trigger an alert. So you have to create a groups and then you have to give a name and then you have to write the rules. Okay, in the under rules you have to define the alerts, like what and all you have to define. So in case if they ask like how do you define a alert, you have to tell like we will be configuring the um, criteria thresholds, like application thresholds in Prometheus.yaml, and we will be configuring it in the alert manager. Okay, for notifications. Um, okay, next question. How does Grafana connect to Prometheus? Okay, what is the difference between Grafana and Prometheus? So Prometheus is the monitoring tool which collects the data. Okay, but in order to visualize that one, we use Grafana. Okay, when we log into Grafana, we will be visualizing each and every component. So how do Grafana connect to Prometheus? Okay, so we have to add Prometheus as a data source. When you configure Grafana, it will ask for the data source, like from which source I have to get the data. Okay, because Prometheus will have the data, all the data of the servers. Similarly, we have different tools, so they will have data. So in case this of Grafana, it will just visualization tool, right? So what it will do, it will ask the data source. So add Prometheus as data source in Grafana by providing its URL and access settings. So when we provide the URL, then automatically it will take all the data and it will create the charts and graphs based on our settings. Okay, so we have to define the URL of Prometheus, and we have to give the proper access for that as well. Okay, explain how to use, like explain the use of recording rules in Prometheus. Okay, for example, we have some pre-computed query results, so that it will improve the dashboard performance. Okay, so recording rules are pre-compute query results. Okay, so we can store it in time series and improve the dashboard performance. So we can configure the settings, like we can select a record. Okay, for recording rules, we have to provide it as record and we have to provide the job. Okay, CPU usage average. So it will take the CPU usage and it will average it out. Okay, and it will provide the expressions like average by job and CPU usage. So these are the settings, like you can see those things in Prometheus and Grafana official pages, and you can configure. Okay, so these recording rules, like it will record pre-compute query results. Okay, yeah guys, that's it. In case if you are able to answer like all of them, then obviously your interview ready. Okay, you can schedule a mock interview, and we can connect one on one. So in case if you want to connect with me for any of the mock interviews, you can connect me on topmate, so that we can have one on one session. Okay, okay guys, in case if you have liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, thank you, have a nice day, bye.